a copy of the city council address. And I'll give you one in a second. Here's sort of the specifics on what I'm speaking about. Just examples of bad behavior. Thank you. Do I need to hold yours too?
Hold on, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Is it okay to do it like that?
I'll hold them both.
Okay.
Alicia will run the camera.
Okay.
Is that okay with you guys?
It's nice to see the cooperation here. Nice. All right. Y'all just let me know when you're ready.
The chairman and the next month's president.
Okay. Point blank, I guess I should say my name too. I'm Chris Horne. I'm running for city council. That's Ward 1, Post 3. Point blank, there should be no place for name calling or the spreading of lies and gossip in our local government. Macon faces too many real enemies in the form of poverty, crime, dwindling population, and dwindling opportunities to make enemies of each other. I'd like to assume we all want to live in a city that's growing and thriving, but I'd rather see us treat each other as if we were all on the same side, working to have a city that's growing and thriving. This weekend, after speaking at New Pleasant Grove Missionary Baptist Church on the ministry of reconciliation that Christians have been called to serve, I learned that the incumbent in this race, a representative of East Macon for 24 years, had publicly disparaged two of my friends simply because they chose to work with me on this campaign. In times past, they had voted for the incumbent, but of late, they have become disenchanted, having realized that the needs of this community weren't being addressed, that East Macon was being overlooked and neglected. Regardless of who they support, they are still her constituents and deserve to be treated with respect. Unfortunately, the incumbent has demonstrated a pattern of inappropriate behavior that stretches back almost 2 decades. I'm going to quote from an article here. One council member, Elaine Lucas, charged in a letter to the editors that it is a Republican conspiracy to take over the city government, the county government, and the state legislature. She said that the opposition in the Democratic primary consists of political prostitutes. Though this has been said this year in this election cycle, the quote actually comes from a 1995 editorial in the Macon Telegraph, 1995. At one time, her aggressive approach to governing was probably appropriate. In fact, I imagine it was the only way that she, a woman of color, could be heard. However, as evidenced by the almost overwhelming problems that still face East Macon, that approach is not producing the results we need for the people of East Macon. It's time to have a representative who stands up for all people, who will not turn his back on his constituents even if they disagree with him. A representative who understands how difficult and discouraging it is for the community to work with people who prefer to attack and collaborate. Spend a half hour in East Macon and see for yourselves. The abandoned houses, the beat-up roads, the deteriorating recreation centers, the closed storefronts, the for sale signs. This is the evidence that East Macon has been neglected. I beg you to ask yourself, what has the incumbent's approach actually produced for East Macon? The infighting and bickering has to come to an end. It isn't productive, it doesn't help us grow. If anything, it only holds us back. We know what does not work. The things we've been doing won't get us where we want to go. Either you make the decision that you want more of the same, or you decide that it's time for a change. It's time to stand up for what is right about Macon, its people. It's time to be honest about the path we're on right now and realize who's led us on that path and find a new guide. It's time for more people to work together and stop calling names when we disagree on issues. It's time for a better Macon, people more capable of leading, to bring us forward.
Chris, why are you choosing to address this today?
Because this past weekend, like I said, I found out that a couple of my friends have been disparaged in a public forum on social media, on Facebook, by the incumbent who is an elected official. And I expected that sort of thing to come at me. You know, I've had her spreading gossip about me, and that's fine. I understand it's politics. But there are two good people who are working with me because they chose to. It's not a personal issue, it's a political issue. And she went after them spreading lies, and I gave you the packet so you'll be able to see exactly the words that she used.
And, Elaine's served for decades. What makes you think that this is the time for change? What makes you think that you are going to be able to beat her where other opponents have failed?
I think that there's a fatigue driving around East Macon, people who go into their jobs, who live there, driving past the abandoned houses, the overgrown right-of-ways, the streets that should be repaved. They see these things day in and day out. They're tired of it. They want to see something change. I think that's the greatest thing I have going for me.
What do you think you can do to kind of set an example for a more healthy political environment?
Be civil. I have offered numerous times and requested numerous times of the incumbent to have a conversation. A civil forum, a debate, however you want to put it. Just an opportunity to discuss the actual issues and not cast names about each other. Thank you.
Mr. Hunt, would you like to comment on this? Are you going to go before the council?
I'm considering.
Well, then you might as well. Can you tell us what brings you with that?
It's been brought to my attention that some false accusation has been placed or posted on Facebook regarding my character. And I wanted to address those issues, especially when it comes from someone that represents me. I'm a constituent of Eastmaker, a past supporter of Ms. Lucas, and to falsely accuse me, one, for being on drugs, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. And this is the type of things that tarnishes the reputation of a lot of preachers, and is more bothersome when it comes from a person who professes to be a Christian themselves. And the note posted on Facebook, it talks about the title of the book. And I'm familiar with the book, and the title of that book is the Bible. And in that book, it teaches us not to cast stones. It teaches us that there is no condemnation to those in Christ Jesus. Christ didn't come to condemn the world, but to save the world. And for her to be a quote-unquote professional, a politician, and I have some ethic concerns about that. And I will also, just for the record, consult with my attorney to see if there are any legal steps that we can pursue. Because let me just say this last thing, because I personally refuse to stand idly by and watch somebody drag my name through the mud and defame my character.
And what's your affiliation with Mr. Horne's campaign? Are you just a
I'm a
supporter?
supporter,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Proud supporter.
Very good. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
And it's Victor, V-I-C-T-O-R,
Correct.
with a T.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, I can blow. Thank you. Do you need anything?
No, is that Ms. Brown?
Yes.
It's the first name on the
Oh, okay.
top of that page.
All right, and Ms. Lamb, I'll bring you today.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Lattimore, and I am a citizen of Macon, Georgia, and I believe there's such thing as civility. We have to keep that, especially if we're someone who's a formal person in the community. And there are times when we have to lose our civility, like conflicts and crises, like Iraq conflicts, and to defend our country. And sometimes we have to use capital punishment, like the electric chair, but we don't have to use civility unnecessarily. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.